Welcome to Joyful Daddy podcast, where we explore how to live a happier, more fulfilling life. I'm Joyful Daddy, and today we're diving into a topic that impacts every aspect of our well-being happiness. What does it mean to truly be happy? And how can we cultivate more joy in our everyday lives? Stick around because we have some practical tips and inspiring stories for you. When we talk about happiness, we often think of it as a fleeting emotion, something that comes and goes. But real happiness, the kind that lasts, goes beyond momentary pleasure. It's about contentment, inner peace, and finding joy in the little moments. Research shows that happiness isn't just about having everything go your way. It's about perspective, gratitude, and creating habits that invite positivity into your life. So, let's dig a little deeper. What are the factors that contribute to a truly happy life? Let's talk about some of the key factors that can help us cultivate happiness. First up is gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in the things we don't have or what's going wrong. But when we pause to reflect on what we're grateful for, it shifts our mindset. Research shows that practicing gratitude regularly can actually rewire our brains to be more positive. One simple way to start is by keeping a gratitude journal, where you write down a few things you're thankful for every day. Over time, this habit can help you focus on the good, even during tough times. Next is mindfulness. In a world filled with distractions, being present in the moment can be challenging, but it's essential for happiness. When we're mindful, we're more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. This can reduce stress and help us appreciate the little things that often go unnoticed. Whether it's through meditation or just taking a few deep breaths throughout the day, mindfulness brings us back to the present and helps us find joy in the here and now. Relationships also play a huge role in our happiness. We're wired for connection, and meaningful relationships are one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness. Whether it's spending quality time with family, building stronger friendships, or giving back to your community, nurturing relationships can provide a sense of belonging and support. Lastly, let's talk about purpose. Finding a sense of purpose gives our lives direction and meaning. It's not just about big goals or achievements, but also about aligning our actions with our values. When we live with purpose, even mundane tasks can feel more fulfilling because they're part of a bigger picture. Purpose helps us stay motivated and resilient, especially when life gets challenging. These are just a few of the ways we can cultivate more happiness in our lives by focusing on gratitude, practicing mindfulness, nurturing relationships, and living with purpose. They're all interconnected, and when we consciously make them a part of our daily routine, they can help us build lasting joy. Now, let's talk about some actionable tips you can incorporate into your daily life to cultivate more happiness. These are small changes, but over time they can have a big impact. 1. Practice gratitude. Start by writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what you already have. 2. Be present. Mindfulness allows you to fully engage in the present moment. Whether it's during a meal, a walk, or a conversation, give your full attention. 3. Build meaningful connections. Relationships are a key component of long-term happiness. Spend time with people who uplift you, and be there for others. 4. Engage in acts of kindness. Giving to others not only benefits them but boosts your own happiness. 5. Focus on growth. Happiness isn't about perfection, but progress. Set goals that challenge and inspire you. I remember a time when I wasn't prioritizing my own happiness. I was caught up in the hustle and stress of life, always chasing the next goal but never taking the time to enjoy where I was. It all changed one evening when I took a moment to simply sit and watch the sunset. It sounds small, but in that moment I realized how much I was missing by not being present. That experience led me to start practicing mindfulness and gratitude every day. It helped me shift my mindset from always wanting more to appreciating what I already had, and that's when I truly began to feel happier, more grounded, and more at peace. Today we have a special guest, Emily Sanders, who has made it her mission to spread happiness through her work as a life coach and speaker. Emily, thank you for joining us. Can you share a bit about your personal journey and how you've cultivated happiness in your life?
Thank you for having me. My journey toward happiness wasn't always smooth. For a long time, I struggled with stress and the pressure of constantly trying to be perfect. It felt like no matter what I achieved, I wasn't truly happy. Then, I reached a point where I realized something had to change. One of the first practices that helped me was gratitude. It sounds simple, but I started to keep a gratitude journal where I wrote down 3 things I was thankful for each day. This small habit began to shift my perspective and allowed me to focus on the abundance in my life, rather than the things I thought were missing. Another key to cultivating happiness for me has been self-care. I used to neglect my own needs, thinking I had to be productive all the time. But I learned that when we don't take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and mentally, it's hard to show up fully for others or for our goals. So I started prioritizing things like exercise, meditation, and even just taking time to rest without guilt. And lastly, connecting with others has been such an important part of my journey. We often think happiness is something we have to figure out alone, but building meaningful relationships has been a huge source of joy for me. Whether it's spending time with loved ones or being part of a supportive community, these connections remind me that we're all in this together, and that brings me a sense of peace and happiness. Overall, it's been a process, but I've learned that happiness is not a destination. It's something we cultivate every day through intentional choices and habits.
That's so inspiring. It really goes to show that happiness is something we can actively work on. It's not just something that happens to us. We have a few listener questions today about happiness. Let's dive into one from Sarah in Texas. What do you do when you feel like you're stuck in a negative mindset and can't find happiness? Great question, Sarah. One thing that helps is practicing self-compassion. When we're hard on ourselves, it's difficult to feel happy. Give yourself grace and remind yourself that everyone has tough days. Also, try shifting your focus by engaging in activities that bring you joy, whether it's a hobby, spending time with loved ones, or simply going outside for fresh air. That's all we have for today's episode. I hope these tips and stories have inspired you to bring more happiness into your everyday life. Remember, happiness is a journey, and it's something we can cultivate with small, intentional choices. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with someone who could use a little extra joy in their life. Until next time, stay joyful, and I'll see you on the next episode of Joyful Daddy.